Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. I wish there were a few more people in this room, but I'm okay with that because the energy that I'm going to put out in this presentation right now is energy that we're all going to be able to carry and share with everyone who's not in this room. And so it is particularly wonderful to be back at a Star Knowledge conference. Laura Eisenhower and I do quite a few conferences and events. This Star Knowledge family and the conferences are so near and dear to our hearts. And I'll just tell you, yesterday was kind of a tough travel day, and probably maybe some of you can relate to this. The last couple of months, certainly the last 2 or 3 months, have been the most difficult 2 or 3 months I can remember in my life. And we see it showing up in the stars and the planets and everything else. And that's why I'm saying I don't think it's just me, and a lot of my clients are also experiencing a lot of this. And so I loved how you introduced me, and it brought a tear to my eye, because one of the things that I'm dealing with in my life right now is to reconnect with that deep passion. I feel like the last couple months have put me into a place that I needed this ungrounding so much, but it didn't just unground a few things for me. It pretty much seems to have started at the foundation of who I am and has ungrounded everything for me. Now, my passion is coming back through this, but it ungrounded my passion and everything else. And so when you said that, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to start crying here. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get up there and speak, because that hit me so deeply. Because I believe I've always in my life, what's happened is when the challenges come along, and boy, I'll tell you, when they don't come along, I'm concerned that I'm not doing the right thing in my life. You know, when I'm not feeling challenged in my life, I pretty much project onto my life that I must be stuck in a rut, that I must have found some sort of complacency that I'm okay with, and I'm not pushing the envelope anymore. So I really am one of those people that embraces challenges at those levels. And so what's happened for me is all of this ungrounding has stirred everything up. And I like it because it's the best way to go through it. Because if I didn't like it, I'm still going to have to go through it. So I have found that space of really sort of enjoying what this means, an opportunity to look at all aspects of who I am and what I'm about, and maybe getting rid of some of these labels that perhaps I've owned a little too much. This is a very self-reflective aspect of what I'm going through myself. Maybe holistic healing practitioner isn't the label that I should hold so dearly to, or international speaker, or radio host. These are all labels, but is it truly who I am? No, it's just a descriptor to try and help people maybe understand who I am and what I'm doing. But then there's also a trap in that, because when we put that out there, then we're kind of setting ourselves up to start believing and owning. And all I really want to be in this life is authentic. All I really want to be in this life is true to me and why I'm here. Because if I'm true to me and why I'm here, then I'm being true to all of you. Then I'm being true to the entire collective. And then I'm being authentic. I'm here because I believe in you. And maybe the one above that should have said, I'm here because I believe in me. And then I'm here because I believe in you. I believe in the power of the collective, and I believe that we are the ones that are going to, or already are, in the process of making the difference. The word "the" should have been all caps there, because I'm not talking about making a little difference, okay? That's where we've come from. And hopefully we've all been running around in our lives making little differences, okay? But here we are, 2014. in the final stretch toward the end of the year. This is the time for us to all be focused on what can we be doing to make the big difference. And when I say that, the immediate concept that comes to my mind is tipping the scale. Okay? There's a real tentative sort of balance going on out there. I'm seeing more chaos in the reality outside of me. Actually, I'm probably seeing more chaos in the reality inside of me also than I've seen ever. And it's just a call to find out then what we're all about inside, to get back on that solid foundation. I've got to believe that it's not going to get any less chaotic than it is right now. Okay? Wherever this is headed, wherever we come out of the tunnel, the rest of this tunnel is going to offer us more chaos than what we're already dealing with. So what do we need to do? It leads us into this concept of understanding the true nature of reality. Now, I don't believe we're really going to be embodied as humans and understand the true nature of reality. But in my daily focus attention and in my practice, I'm always asking to expand into a little more of the truer nature of reality. And when I'm doing that, I'm also asking and focusing on understanding the true nature of ourselves. I'll just bring it right back to me because I'm just sharing my process and who I am. I'm so focused on understanding my true nature. And it doesn't always show up in the most beautiful ways. I haven't had a silver platter placed before me that says, Dr. Dream, Mark Peebler, this is your true nature. I have, like all of us have, experiences that show up. They're either constricting me, they're either expanding me, they're bringing tears of joy, they're bringing tears of wherever those other tears come from. But that's the proving ground for me. That's the only place I can learn. Okay? Because I get that I'm writing the script. I get that the chaos that I'm experiencing inside myself, I wrote that. And let me just tell you, I did a damn fine job at writing that chaos. But it's mine. And I need to understand why it's important for me to experience this. What is it showing me? I know my life is about growing, expanding, and evolving. So what is this chaos showing me? What is the heartache? What is the challenges? I don't know how many of you are still doing that abundance dance, you know, kind of struggling with the finances. I'm doing that dance. I thought there are times in my life I've gotten really good at it, the abundant times, and then there are times that I'm just still trying to figure it out. So in my own experience recently, I haven't always been Dr. Dream. My background is hardcore sales and marketing. I trained sales managers for 3 years on the East Coast of the U.S. at Marriott hotels, 9 hotels a week I'd go to. That's part of my background. Photography, specializing in the real estate industry. So times have gotten a little financially where I'm like, I need more grounding financially. And so what did I do? I flipped back and I said, well, rather than look at Dr. Dream and who Dr. Dream is and everything, I've made a lot of money doing some of these other businesses. And so that was kind of my default setting, and I fell back on that and went back to doing some real estate photography. I mean, I had months back in the day that I would make $20,000 a month doing real estate photography. Okay? I kid you not. So you can see or feel the draw. Oh, financial times are a little bit challenging. Hey, you made a lot of money doing this. See if you can do that again. It has failed miserably in the last 3 months. I've sunk money into new equipment. We got drones. We got all this. It has been an absolute nightmare. An absolute nightmare for me. And I'm working with the same energy. Well, who knows? But because I'm different than I ever was. We're all different than we ever were. But I'm working with the same formula, the same business formula. This is how it worked before. This is how it can work now. And none of it's working. And I'm like, okay, God, source, so are you suggesting that maybe if this worked for me right now to do this photography, that I would be so off my path and purpose and mission that it wouldn't serve me or the collective. And that's where I'm at right now in all of this. Like, wow, okay, so if I went back to making, I mean, listen, I'd settle for a lot less than $20,000 a month. If I went back to making an additional $4,000 a month doing this, it's going to take me away from the path that I know I'm here for. I mean, you know, if you see me and I'm quiet this weekend, I got a lot of stuff going on up here, and it's all shifting me and giving me an opportunity to grow and evolve, and yet there's a part of me that just wants the safety and security of what I already know, and I'm grabbing onto it and holding onto it for dear life, and I'm watching it slip through my fingers because that's not the way. I don't know if any of you are dealing with this kind of energetic also, but it's real. I can cut it with a knife or an axe. and I just wanted to, I'm way off of my where I was going here. But this is another part of who I am. I just want to be so in the moment and share what I'm being drawn to share, because I know there must be a piece for each of you in that. Now, one of the things that I understand gets in the way of me understanding the truer nature of reality and the truer nature of my own reality is all the BS. Okay? I mean, it is just huge, and it affects everything. So I get to look at things from this perspective of what is the BS that's getting in the way of my experience? What is the BS that I'm owning, that I'm making real, that is creating a majorly less than comfortable experience for me? So we dive into it. I dive into it a little bit, and the question becomes, well, where do I find the clues to my own BS? How do I see what's going on? Well, my fears are going to give me clues to the BS that I'm steeped in. Our fears point out a lot of things. I mean, there's this kind of new agey thing where it's like, oh, fears, no, push them away, you can't, you know, and all this. It's like, okay, I think if there's one thing we've learned from the old paradigm, it's not about pushing anything away. It's about understanding it. It's about diving into it. It's about connecting with where it's really coming from. So talking about embracing fears, but really seeing where they're coming from and relating it to your BS. Our stresses. That's a great clue. You know, what stresses me out? What is it? I use my body as a barometer. Okay? And I feel constriction right here with a thought, with an action, with whatever. When something's going on and I'm constricted, I feel it right here, and it's a message. It's a flag saying, hey, you're constricting, and that's not who you are, and that's not part of your true nature, so there's something here to look at. Been diving into that a lot. Our health. Our health gives us a lot of clues to where we're at with our own BS. How healthy are we? How does it feel to be in our bodies? Our fears affect our health. You know, I mean, it's all of this is really tied together. Our family dynamic. What's happening in our family dynamic? You've probably heard me say it before. Pretty much after I got out of the house as a teenager, I thought, I don't have to deal with all this family stuff. They've never gotten me. They've, you know, kind of supported me to be on their path that they want me to be on, but they haven't supported the true me. And so I thought, I'm out of here. Well, I'm turning 50 this year, and I realized that you don't push everything away. I was just saying it before. It's not about pushing everything away. They don't get me. They're my family. On some level, I chose them before I came in. Okay? Family dynamic. My daughter has spent the last couple of months not wanting to talk to me. My 13-year-old daughter. My entire life revolved around my daughter until I thought that the energetic was good and I could start doing more of what I do and everything else. For me, there's a particularly powerful lesson in this, and I have to say that there's a particularly painful reality in this right now. Okay? Because more than anything in my life, I know that my daughter not talking to me is not the true nature of who I am, is not the true nature of who we are or why we chose each other. And so I'm doing everything I can to move into that direction of healing. She's 13 years old. I get it. There's going to be a kickback. There's going to be a fight back. Okay? All I want is to heal that. The overall picture, the energetic, you know, what do people feel from you? What do you feel from yourself? Okay? When the lights go out at night and it's just you in your head, where are you? How are you? These are all clues to our level of BS. Now, it occurs to me in this discussion that I maybe took something for granted here. And what I may have taken for granted here is that you know what I'm talking about when I say BS. Let's see a show of hands. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say BS? Okay. I think you know, but I'm going to make it real clear. I'm talking about belief systems. Okay? Now, I have a lot of fun with this because the other BS, the bull stuff, also plays into this. And some of our belief systems, just because you believe it, doesn't mean that it's true, doesn't mean that it serves you. Actually, it does mean that it serves you, but it doesn't mean that you need to hold on to it. You have a belief system that maybe right now, or let me bring it back to me. I have a belief system that right now I'm identifying is holding me back. I have to tell you, I have to share with you that somewhere along the way that belief system served me. Somewhere along the way that belief system saved me from something, helped me, okay? So let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's not just, you know, like undercut it and say, I can't believe I ever believed that, you know, because that's taking away the energy. Everything that we experience, everything that's happened to us is serving us on some level. Now, if you're like me, you can maybe hold on to some of that longer than it needs to be held on to. Okay? Anyone have that experience? Yeah. And even then, it's still serving you because you're not quite sick and tired enough of that BS to let it go yet. I mean, I have a solid foundation belief that I believe serves us all at the highest level right now. If you're still doing it, it still serves you. Okay, as we're waking up and becoming more aware and more conscious, and we start to feel into the things that don't serve us, there's a trap there. And we can slip into an absolute undermining of who we are. Can't believe that I'm still drinking that much. I can't believe that I'm still so shut down in my heart. I can't believe that, you know, whatever it is you're carrying, when you start to realize maybe it's not serving you at the highest level, don't fall into the trap of then undermining yourself because you're still dealing with it. I mean, actually, in that moment, you should give yourself a pat on the back because you're identifying something that you would like to change. Now, for me, when I started identifying a lot of those things I'd like to change about myself, I realized that some of that stuff I'd carried for about 30 years and never thought about. And if I look back over those 30 years, I can see how it got in the way of some of my experience. That would have been the time to maybe beat myself up. But we're past all that now. So the time to beat yourself up is not when you're realizing that, hey, this is an aspect of my experience, an aspect of myself, an aspect of my wounded self that needs some love, needs some attention, needs some fine-tuning. That's the time you say, wow, I'm getting this now. That is not the time to say, I can't believe you're still stuck in that, because you are getting it. And so the question to ask, your belief systems are not BS, or are they? And you're the only one. I got to tell you that, you know, it seems like on many days people line up to kind of tell me where I'm wrong or what, you know, how my belief system should be different or where I'm in my BS. You're the only one that knows. You are seriously the only one that can get a handle on this and understand exactly what's going on with you and how your belief systems are serving you and which of the BS aspects of your focused attention is time to just sort of get rid of, to jettison. Constriction, for me, equals BS. Expansion, for me, equals a belief system that serves my highest self. And I feel it in my heart. I feel it in my heart when my thoughts, when my actions, when my core is at that expansive place. When I'm open. When I'm not thinking about all the things I should have, could have, would have done differently in the past. When I'm not thinking about all the possible futures that haven't come about yet, so why am I wasting my time with that anyway? Why not just focus on my dream for the future, the energy that I want to put out there? And then, of course, Source is going to mildly adjust those paths a little bit. I have yet to identify a goal, a vision for my future and have it go the exact way I identified it to go. But I'm smart enough to know that once I've identified it, once I've owned it, once I've sent that visualization, intention out to Source, then I need to pay attention because I don't know the perfect way for things to come about. Okay, my job is to focus on clearing up what needs to be cleared up inside of me, identifying in each moment, each day. I ask myself, why am I here? Why do you exist? And then I base what I do on that. Gets a little sketchy when you're in the ungrounded thing and you're having a little trouble realizing why you exist. But these are the questions, and it's available for all of us. We're all in this together, and every experience we have offers us the opportunity to expand into a greater love. It also then offers us the opportunity to seek down into the depths of who we did not come here to be. That's free will, and you have that. One of the things I do every single morning at home, our dog Jake takes me for a walk, and I take a picture of roses. My neighborhood, our neighborhood in Ventura, it's not fancy, it's kind of understated and everything, but there are the most beautiful roses on this walk that my dog takes me on. And I've been doing this for over a year now. And one of the things it does for me is it focuses my attention on God, Source, all that is, and gratitude. And then that's the foundation for the rest of my day. It just happened for me. I never was a person that took lots of pictures of flowers and this, that, and the other thing. That's just happened to me. I have this thing that's big for me. It's called the rose frequency. And the rose frequency is that rose oil holds the highest frequency of any essential oil. I'm all about frequency because I realize that when we raise our frequency and then learn how to hold it, that's going to help us and give us more access to the grace and ease of moving through our experience than trying to move through it at a lower frequency. So I can look up at the chemtrails, that stuff they spray in the skies, and laugh and say, sorry, I'm too high vibe. And I absolutely own that and believe it, and it's a part of my very being. Is it real? Well, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I don't crumble to my knees and go into a fetal position crying when I see chemtrails and realize what they're trying to do to the collective. I know people that do that. Depending on how much spraying is happening, they won't go out of their homes. I will not be a victim to this stuff. Okay? None of us need to be. So is it working? Well, I don't have more gallons. I feel pretty good. And I get a good chuckle because they're always spraying. So I'm always looking up and saying, sorry, too high vibe. You know, there's those things in life that as they show up, I feel like it's God or Source saying, let's see how he really feels about this. I said before, everything is an opportunity to expand into a greater love, a greater experience of love. Well, everything, every aspect of our experience is also an opportunity to remind ourselves and thereby Source what's important to us. I can't stand by and be quiet when people lay down their victim trip to me. I gotta move that energy to something else. Because if I go back to that old paradigm of human etiquette, where I was just like, oh yeah, that's too bad, oh that sucks, oh the police are bad, whatever, all I'm doing is keeping a person stuck. And then when I walk away, what just happened? Well, I kept them stuck and now I can be a victim. Now I own a little bit of that victim mentality. can't do it anymore. It's not out of my lack of love for people, quite the opposite. It's out of my love for them, but it's also out of my love for my own experience and its boundaries. This weekend, you have some tremendous opportunities to expand into a greater love. My partner, Laura Eisenhower, who is beyond incredible, and I would say that if she were just a friend of mine, and I've watched her as all of you have watched her. What she does for all of us, for the collective, how she frames things in a way that makes it possible for me to understand where we came from and how to handle things here. I didn't find that anywhere, and I know a number of you haven't really found that level from anyone else other than Laura. She speaks today in this room at 3 o'clock, so you'll want to catch that. And then this afternoon at 4 o'clock, around the corner in the A3 room, I do a presentation, and I love this, and it's constantly evolving, and it's called Practical Ascension, the Lost User's Guide. Okay, and so this is how to get through this, and this is my perspective on how to get through this. It's a very powerful presentation. It touches on a lot of things, and I can only share what has worked for me. And so hopefully you'll be able to make that. And then Laura's workshop, Reclaiming Our Divine Birthright and Shattering the Illusion of Separation, is in that same room, A3, tonight at 7. And get ready for this. You know, Laura's 2 presentations that she do are really created to kind of be done together if it's possible for people, and the amount of information and energy that she puts out and makes so available for all of us is really, really important. And then tomorrow, Friday at 2 o'clock, Laura's second workshop, Inner Shift into Higher Earth Energies. Again, all very powerful, and each one is a little bit, her 2 are a little bit different for sure. And then Friday night, tomorrow at 8 o'clock, we're doing a Universal Love Galactivation, and it's the rose frequency. And this is, in the last 57 months, this will be my 198th group energetic experience in Nashville, or this area right here being the 108th city around the world that I've done this in. Okay, this is from the heart. This is about the rose frequency. This is about offering you an opportunity to so expand, okay? If you meditate 6 hours a day, or you wouldn't know what to do with a yoga mat if it came with instructions, this experience is for you. You're not too far beyond this experience, and you're not outside of the realm of this experience, wherever you are in your personal evolution. Laura and I do this together, and we'll have some other sound healers and people there doing this. It's powerful, and it's not scripted. We have no idea where the energy is going to take us, because we don't know who's going to be there, and it's different always. And so this is just a very heartfelt invitation for you to join us, again, at these opportunities for expansion. Laura and I are also doing Dream Team sessions, and these are combined sessions where we combine both of our energies in a way that is incredibly powerful for people. And so we have time slots available for those. This morning, I don't immerse myself in the news at all. But I do like to know what's going on. I'm here, and so, you know, as an embodied human, it's nice to kind of see what's going on out there. So I go through the news feeds every morning, and there's not a lot of articles I read, but I like to know who's waging war on who and what the government's doing and this and that, just so I can be aware. Remember, this is a really good reminder. There's a difference between being aware of what's going on and owning it, okay? They, and I think we have a picture of who the they is, want us to own it, okay? Because it'll put us into fear, it'll create an environment within us that makes us more manageable. Well, screw that. I don't want to be manageable by anyone, okay? I manage myself. And so, you know, I don't own what's going on out there. I don't own the fear or anything. I rack it up to the chaos and the experiences that people need to have to awaken at this time. But I like to be aware. So this morning, I found a nice article, and I want to share it with you. My program that I developed 8, 9, 10 years ago is called Dream the Biggest Dream. And 2 times out of the gate, speaking at conferences, people just naturally started calling me Dr. Dream, and it's stuck. And I actually really like it, and I think it's easier to remember than anything else. And so everything for me is about the dream. Like, what is, for me, what is my biggest dream? Not in relation to someone else's dream, but just my biggest dream. It's not a comparison game or anything, but it's the question I ask. What's my biggest dream for my life and for my energies being here? What is it about for me? And this is a question that I suggest everyone should be asking themselves. But there's a second part to this dream the biggest dream. The first part is giving yourself permission to identify what your dream is. Okay? A lot of us have already done that, but we kind of then hold it over here as, yeah, that's the dream. I'm never really going to get it, you know, because dreams don't come true for me, but this is what my dream would be, but it's not real. Okay? So I get a lot of people that can dream, but they dream it just far enough out of reach. Okay? It's part of their BS and part of their belief system. And so that's the first part, is identifying what your biggest dream is. And it's really empowering to say, well, what is my dream? And then drop all the, I can't do that because I don't make enough money. I can't do, you know, drop all the BS that other side of you, maybe you call it your rational side or whatever, is going to say why this dream can't be real for you. You've got to drop all that and just be in the dream. And then give yourself permission to own that dream, that you can actually live it. And so, you know, this is so much of what my life has been about. And so this morning, what article do I find that draws my attention immediately? 7 truths to remember as you live out your dream. And I thought, well, isn't this nice? And it's based on a study that was done, but I'm just going to go through the 7 truths. I didn't write this, but I resonate deeply with these truths, and I'd like to share them with you. Number 1, quality will beat qualifications every time. You know, a lot of times we don't slip into our dream because, well, I don't know enough. I'm not qualified. I haven't been trained in that. More BS. More belief systems that are keeping you from being in your dream. More BS that's keeping you from going after what you really want. We did a weekend with Laura and Dr. Dream at ECETI Ranch, James Gilliland's place, earlier in the summer. And one of the things I did, I'm a multiple modality holistic healing practitioner, and that means I have traveled the world and I have gathered tools and modalities. And so what I did on the stage that weekend, I set up all my tools and modalities. So thousands of dollars of tools and modalities out on the stage. Crystals, tuning forks, crystal bowls, Tibetan bowls, bells, chimes, essential oils, flower and gem essences, lasers that do wild stuff, 0-point energy wands, I mean everything. And I said to people, and how often do you hear a holistic healing practitioner say this? Come on up and play with any of this. Because the only thing that keeps you from playing with any of this is thinking that you're not qualified. And I'm here to tell you, if I can work with all these tools and modalities, anybody in this room can work with all these tools and modalities. So drop your belief system that you can't and come on up. And if you don't understand a particular one, I'll show you how I work with it. But that's not the end-all, be-all. People thanking me all weekend long. People coming up and saying, I never played a crystal bowl before. That was great, you know. And I've had people get in touch with me since then saying, you know, how powerful it was, and they're picking up tuning forks and this and that. Let's take the mystery out of all of this. And so that's a big piece. And he goes on to mention people like Richard Branson, who left school at 16. You know, well, he's plenty of qualifications to do what he's done and build all these companies and have all that wealth. So just watch how you're setting yourself up to fail before you even start, I guess, is the thing to look out for. That's the trap. This is my dream. I really want to do that, but I can't because I'm not good enough, whatever. You fill in the blank there. Don't just make $1, make a difference. I love this one, and this is what I'm dealing with right now that I talked about. None of my conventional business photography stuff is working. Why? Well, I mean, this is a no-brainer because the only reason I'm going back to it is to make money. And that, for me, at my awareness, at my consciousness, pretty much guarantees it won't work. Now, that just means it won't work based on where that belief system is. So if I still want it to work, I can make it work, but I've got to create a new belief system around it. Okay? And so it's not that things are just doomed because they're not meant to be. We're still writing the script. If I want it to work, I can write that into the script, but I've got to write it in a way that taking photographs for realtors is more than just me making a buck, that it satisfies something else, that it's giving me something else, that's feeding my soul somehow. Now, I ran a business for years out of Sedona, web development, and ran up against this quite a bit. This aspect of, wow, I really don't believe I exist to be building websites for people, but I've got 200 clients, and I'm making a lot of money, and this is what I'm doing right now. So where did my belief system go? I shifted it to, I'm helping these people learn about abundance. And then I changed my whole approach to them. I said, you know what? Why don't we start off by talking about why you even need me to help you make money? Because if you were real clear and everything was cleared up, you probably wouldn't need me. So before we decide to spend $20,000 on something for you, and I know that's what you want me to come up with, before we go there, let's figure out how you're blocking yourself. That's how I continue to be able to stay in my business and have it resonate in a way that kept making sense. And then at a certain point, that even stopped making sense. So, you know the reasons why you're doing what you're doing and find a balance in there. If you want success, start failing. Now, I would have worded this different. If you want success, keep trying. I don't believe we fail at anything. My favorite example of this is looking at a baby. It can't even roll over to start with. Keeps trying, keeps trying, keeps trying, can't quite roll over. Finally rolls over. Now, can't sit up. Keeps trying, keeps trying, keeps trying, keeps trying. Finally able to sit up. Okay, you see where I'm going with this. Then standing, then using the table to walk a little bit, then falling. Okay? At the end of this process, this baby's going to look like me. I'm still doing okay walking. Now, did I fail all those times that I fell as a baby? No, I was just fine-tuning my approach. I was just learning the right way to do it. So part of learning is, I mean, it would be awfully nice if any of us could just pick up something and have it be like, whoa, okay, I never played the piano before, but wow, I just, knocked out a Bach piece or something. That would be awfully nice, but it doesn't really work that way for most of us. We find a passion about something, we find an interest about something, and then we go at it, and we keep doing it. And it's being fed by our passion, not the fact that we're doing it excellent the very first time. I'm looking at buying an instrument, a theremin. Anyone know what a theremin is? It's a wild instrument, and I've wanted one for years for the galactivation experience. And I've had this thing like, I can't play a theremin because I have this belief system that I play with that I'm not very talented musically and stuff. And so it's kept me from getting this. I probably could be one of the really amazing theremin players today if when I first wanted one 4 years ago I got it. I'm getting one in the next couple of weeks. And I realize in the beginning, it's not going to have that sound that has so drawn me to it. But I'm going to learn what it takes. For those of you that don't know what it is, there's an antenna that comes out here and an antenna that comes out here. And based on how you move your arms and your energy, it makes these kind of crazy sounds, like sort of the Halloween sounds, you know, like the just sort of mystical. Led Zeppelin and Whole Lotta Love played it on stage also. So anyway, next time you see me, you're going to say, wow, look, he got good at it. And I know it's going to take me time, but in that process, when it sounds not so hot, I'm not going to suggest to myself that I'm failing. I'm just fine-tuning my process and my approach. You can't please everyone. I used to think that there was a way that I could be everything for everyone. And you just can't. You know, talk about setting yourself up for, you know, a fall. That's it. So it's not about being everything to everyone. But it is about being all that you can be. God, it sounds like a horrible commercial. It is about allowing yourself to expand into the energy that you came here to expand into, so you can be that beacon of energy out there and just be that. That is what it's about. Number 5, keep dreaming. He talks about the power of human imagination continuing to baffle scientists. He talks about those studies where people visualize playing golf. They visualize the par 4, hole 6, which club they're going to use. And they do it in a comfortable space, not out at a golf course or anything like that. It's all up here. And what they find is that the same thing that happens in your brain when you're actually swinging the golf club happens in your brain when you're visualizing it. It starts to blur the reality of what's real and what's not. And this is excellent because you can make it real. You can visualize how it's going to work and then do it. These are studies that the scientific community is putting out more and more. In a study comparing pianists, those who simply imagined playing a melody performed almost identically to those who physically practiced. Your imagination is powerful, and it's only held back by your BS and your belief systems. Okay, so this is why this concept of what are you believing is so very important. Okay, number 6, it's who you know. And I couldn't pick a better place to talk about that. Today has been a little bit of a challenging day, you know, with traveling. I got all this stuff going on. You're in my world a little bit now. You understand. It's like got a lot of stuff going on. Every single interaction I've had here today with my Star Knowledge family has been at the highest level. Absolutely the highest level. People, I got a neck thing going on, and someone just said, oh, and by the way, Dr. Dream, later on, you know, I'm a healing practitioner, and I specialize in neck and shoulders. It's like, of course you do. Okay? Pay attention. Everything is happening for us. It's all happening. And so it's who we know. It's who we hang out with. They say that look at the 5 people that you spend the most time with in your life. It's going to tell you a lot about who you are. And look at those people and look at them objectively. Are they energy vampires and they're just hanging out with you because you got a lot of good energy and you seem to know how to replenish it so they can take whatever they want? Are they victims? Are they abundant? Are they passionate? Are they happy? Are they having, holding, owning qualities that you would like to have, own, and hold? Those are the people we should be hanging out with. Okay? And if the people we're hanging out with aren't in that energetic, we don't kick them to the curb. The very first thing we do is say, hey, there's an opportunity here. There's an opportunity to play this game at a higher level. There's an opportunity to have more energy. There's an opportunity to be more happy, to be passionate, and assist them, because that must be why they're there with you. I mean, we have So much available to us, and with it comes responsibility. Not the bad kind of responsibility that has us cringing, like when we were kids, but the good kind of responsibility, okay? You know what it means to have an open heart. You know what it means to have an open mind. You know what it means to love. You now have a responsibility to everyone you come into contact with, to everyone in this entire collective, to be a beacon of that, because you know it, because you've gone through the gauntlet, because you've paid your dues, because you've done what it takes to have achieved this level of awareness, and it's time to expand that out and keep expanding it out. And the seventh truth about living your dream, he says, is ain't no valley low enough. Your dream won't be presented on a silver platter. Success will come with scratches and scars. All right, fine. You know, I mean, I didn't look at finishing up this whole experience looking all pristine and everything else. I'm fine getting to whatever my finish line is in this experience with some scratches and some scars and some bruises. Because every single one of those is going to remind me of a success. It's going to remind me of an opportunity I embraced to learn about myself, to learn about this reality, to learn about my true purpose here, so I can be living, being at that level. This next slide starts off with a comment that in the last 2 or 3 months, there were days when I would not have said this comment, and if I had said it, I probably would have gotten physically ill. I love this life. I get it. We all go through really tough times, okay? It's not easy. It is not easy. I don't believe we really came here for it to be easy. Maybe those are the people that don't come to conferences like this, that don't put themselves out there and expand themselves because they know that there's something more. We need to be here for each other. The whole Robin Williams thing, and then the string of other ones that happened after that. We need to realize what the warning signs are. We need to step up for each other. We need to put ourselves out there and not need, want, or ask for anything in return. You will be taken care of. I've identified and continue to re-identify my role. And in that identification and re-identification of my role is a commitment and a recommitment, is a rededication to it. And I just want you to know that for me, looking out at each of you right now, and during this presentation, I love you for stepping up and playing your role. And if there's something I can do to assist you, to assist your process, if there's something you heard me talk about today and it's like, wow, you know, Dr. Dream and I should have a conversation, I offer 15-minute no-charge phone consultations, okay? My hand is not out. My hand is here to hold your hand if you need it. I know firsthand that there are times that all I need in this life is someone to hold my hand and just hold space for me. Not tell me what to do, just to hold space, to hear me. I've got all the answers. I just need that space sometimes, and I know everybody needs that. So I'm not just dedicated to my role and my path and my mission. I'm dedicated to your role and your path and your mission, because it's going to take all of us. And if I'm going to turn to anyone, it's going to be you all. And I thank you so much for listening to this and taking it in and offering me another opportunity to get back into my heart, to reconnect with my passion for the collective, for my own life, for everything, for all that is. That's what you've done for me today and always, and I thank you for it.